Hello there. In this tutorial, I'm going to be doing a selected database number, and the trial question is right here. Now, some of the database tutorial numbers I do in the year 2025, or some database numbers I've been doing the previous year are really important for the senior 6 class of 2025, the very last class in the old way of studying. Now, this is a question that is applicable in senior 6. It is important in the senior 6 class, the current senior 6 class. And of course, in the description of the video, I'll be putting links of other videos that are related to this very video I'm making, so that when you're watching a video like this, you can simply go to the description and watch more videos that are just like this one I'm recording. Videos could be about database, because even this one is about database. So here is the sample question. So it runs from here, and of course it goes up to this. It's what I'm going to do. So here it is. You are going to make some reports for the registration exercise in a certain secondary school about people's registration numbers, names, class, age, in brackets date of birth, sex, in brackets gender, city, village, and their addresses. Load the database program of your choice and name it as registration exercise in a folder bearing your names on the desktop. I'm going to create a folder, of course, bearing my name on the desktop, so that I can put a database program there. So the folder is, of course, bearing my name and maybe having my personal number. I can open it, and I created a database program renamed registration exercise. I want to just create a database here, and then I rename it registration exercise. Registration exercise. Okay. Registration exercise. Yeah. Then I can open it. Now my database is already open, and it's displaying enable content feature. Should always enable content when dealing with databases, so that I can of course move on with whichever object I want to be creating according to the question. Now question 1 is import the file register.xls and name it as register table as you finish importation process. Now I'm going to import a file called register.xls into my database. Now the file is Excel, but whenever I'm importing Excel to, of course, database, I follow some steps. Now the file is Excel, and I'm going to just import it to database, and then I rename it register table. Of course, when I want to import, I'm going to click at external data, minding about the version I'm running, even the version you could be running at your computer. I'm running a version of 2024, and some features could be slightly different from your computer, but I can assure you that most of the tabs, most of the features I'll be clicking at, they are almost the same as yours, provided you're using a version of 2016 onwards. So I'm going to click at external data, and then I click at new data source, then I click at from file, and then I choose Excel. Now for the versions that are older than 2024, you could click at external data and you could see Excel around. But for this, I'm following some steps so that I can land at Excel, so that I can import the other file that I've been tasked to import. The file is called register.xls. So I'm going to click at the new data source, then file, then Excel, and then I browse, After browsing, of course I look for the support folder. It is on desktop and it is right here, random selected database number. If I could open it, then I open the support folder so that I can land at the file I really want. Note that the two files are going to be also located in the description so that when you're practicing the same number, the files are already in the description and the um, the trial number, the PDF, is already in the description also. But if you're finding challenges downloading the file from the description, you can inbox the numbers you see at the YouTube channel so that you can get the files to use. So I can click at register and then I can click at open. Then I can click at OK so that I can continue with the other steps of importing the file called register. I can tick first row contains column headings, that is right, from reg number up to house. These are all column headings. Then I can go to next. Of course, after going to next at this step, this is the field name and this is the data type. I could just leave it as short text. I click at next. And then let me first click at back. Now this was, of course, a stage where I'm supposed to change data types, but I always don't do it from here. I do it from access. I find it better. But you can also decide to change data types here. As for example, registration number, you can change it from here. Names, you can change it from here. Class, you can change it from here, etc, etc. So like I said, I do it from the other side. That's why I'm going to click at next. Then after clicking at next, there are options of let access, add a primary key, choose my own primary key, no primary key. I'm going to click at choose my own primary key so that I can use registration number as a primary key. I click at next and then import table 2. I'm going to rename it from here according to the question. I'm supposed to rename it as register table as I finish importing. I want to just type register table as the name of the table. I click finish, I save, then I click at save import. So I've successfully loaded the file from Excel. It is now in database. That is it. I've loaded the register table and it's already there. Another question is import a file. Number 2, import a file details.xls and name it details table. Now the file is also Excel, and of course if I want to import it, I want to go back to my database. Then I click at external data, I click at new data source, then file, Excel. Then I browse, I locate my file that is called details, then I click open and then I click OK. Tick first row contains column headings, then next. Choose my own primary key. Yes, that is also registration number. Next. I can rename it from here according to the question. I should rename it as details table. So details, I type table. And then I click at finish. Save import steps and then save. It means I also have the details table that is successfully loaded into my access. Now, according to the first two questions, I was pushed to import 2 Excel files into my database, and my database right now has 2 tables, that is details table, then it has register table. Those are the 2 tables I'm having so far, and my database is now called a relational database because it is having 2 tables. Any database having 2 tables or more is called a relational database, and the database having 1 table is called a flat file database. I can close this table and then I can close this one here so that I go to the next question number 3. It is create one-to-one relationship between register, and details. Now, like I've just said, my database is relational. It's having two tables. And of course, if you have a relational database, it means you can come up with a one-to-one relationship between the two tables. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to relate the two tables using a relationship. So I'm going to go and click at database tools, then I click at relationship. I double tap at details table, and then I double tap at register table. After double tapping, I can close this. I no longer need it. Then I can just drag one primary key, this primary key here, and then I take it to a foreign table. I drag it and I release it from the other primary key. I release it from there. Then I click at create, so that the two tables can come up with a relationship. Now, right now, the two tables are related and they are really connected. So that is the meaning of a relationship in a relational database. A relationship does not appear on your left just like other objects you always create in database, but it is going to be found under database tools in relationships, provided you've saved it. So Ctrl S, and then I can close the relationship from here. Of course, like I said, the relationship is always going to be under database tools. And if I click at relationship, it should display the relationship I've just created. So that is it. Next, number 4, create a query for Bikunya and Winnie. Save it as headliners with fields, reg number, names, class, age, sex, house, date of birth, and address. Now the query they're telling us to create is about the two names Bikunya and Winnie, but I'm not sure what the two mean. Let me first go and look at the tables. If I look at this table here, seems this table doesn't have what I want. Let me look at the register table. Yeah, the register table seems it's having what I want. Bikunya is under house. I think it's a type of house where someone's coming from. So Bikunya is a type of house. So I'm going to create that query with the houses Bikunya and Winnie, and then I save it as headliners. With the fields, they have specified on the fields that are wanted in the query. I'm going to close the tables, and then I click at create, then I go to query design, and then I locate the table I want my query to come from. Seems my table is register, so I'm going to double tap at register here. There are two tables so far, because if you're having a relational database, you're always going to have two tables displayed, and you should choose the table with a field or with the fields you want in that specific query or form or report you're trying to do. So what are the fields that I wanted? It's reg number first, then names, then class, reg number, names, class. What else? Age, sex, house. What else is wanted? Date of birth and address. Now this table is not having date of birth and address. I'm going to double tap at the other table. You see they're already related. So I want to click at date of birth because it's also wanted, and also address. Double tap. Yeah. So I'm already having the required fields in my query, but I've not yet ran Bikunya and Winnie. Like I said, these were houses. I should just mind the spelling of Bikunya and Winnie. So I'm going to, of course, locate house. Under house, besides criteria, I type Bikunya, the same way it appeared in the table. Then even here, I type Winnie. Yeah. Then after typing the two, I'm going to run. Click at run, and then I'm going to have my query running, displaying people from the two houses, that is Bikunya and Winnie. I'm going to save it as headliners according to to the question, save it as headliners. Click OK, and then I can close the query. Okay, that is it with the query, and it was number 4. 5. Create a query from the register table to return all houses excluding Bikunya. Save it as exclusion query. So I'm going to create a query from the register table to return all houses excluding Bikunya. So of course I'm going to click at create, then query design, then from the register table, was it register table? Yeah, register table. And then I double tap at each field. They have not specified all the fields wanted, so I'm going to put all the fields there. And the question is like, we should run a query displaying all houses excluding Bikunya. So if I want to run that type of query, I'm going to use a not in string. A not in is going to have a less than sign and a greater than sign. Of course, without space, open less than sign, greater than sign. Then you type what you don't want Bikunya. So Bikunya should not be included. Bikunya should not be included in the houses. That's why I'm putting the not in symbol. Then I type Bikunya because it's what I don't want. Run, and all houses are going to be displayed except Bikunya. Yeah, according to the question, save it as exclusion query. So I'm going to save it as exclusion query. Then I click at OK, and I close this type of query. Okay, that is it. Next, number 6. Create another query with fields, reg number, names, date of birth, sex, and house that will display all females born in 1996 and save it as 1996 females. So according to the question, the query doing should have the fields reg number, names, date of birth, but seems the query is rotating around the date of birth and females. Now if I look at my tables, the table having the dates is the table of details. So the table I'm going to be interested in mostly. Then something slight with register, because register is having the sex. So details is going to be first. I'm going to click at create, then query design, then I double tap at details, then I double tap at register, so that I can choose the fields I want. Now according to the question, I should create a query with fields reg number, names, date of birth. Reg number, names here, date of birth here. What else? Reg number, names, date of birth, sex, house. Sex is here, and then house is here. So those are the fields, and what should it do? Displaying all females born in 1996. Okay, so females, of course, it's under sex. I type F, the same way I typed it in the table. Then date of birth, I type a query, a criteria to display 1996, because in the question they want females who were born in 1996. So I'm going to type between space hash 1996 is going to start at 01 stroke 1996. So the year starts on that date. So I enclose it in the hash, the first date of that year 1996, and then I put the last date of that very year 1996, because I'm looking for females who were born in the year 1996. That's why I'm putting the first date of a year and I'm going to put the last date over here. So 01/01/1996 enclosed in hashes, space, and space, hash. So the year ended on 31st stroke December 12 stroke 1996 hash. So under date I've put that, and under female I've put F because I want females who were born in the year 1996. So run so that you see the females who were born in the year 1996. According to the question, save it as 1996 females. Control S, you type 1996 females. Okay, close. Whenever you do an object and it runs, you save, give it a name, and then you close what I've been doing. Because an object should not be left open in Access, it is somehow risky to leave an object that is open in Access. And number 7 is create a parameter query based on house that will display student information when the user types in a house. Name it a parameter query. Now, a parameter query is just it enables a user locate certain items. You locate certain items by use of a query that has already been designed. Now, this is how it works. I can create a query to help me display maybe people who are from a certain house. Now, let me do it here so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. Now, for example, if I want to create a parameter query, I'm going to click at create, then I click at query design. Now, according to the question, they want me to create a parameter query based on house. So the parameter query should generate various houses. If someone inputs a house like Bikunya, it returns Bikunya house. If someone inputs a house like Winnie, it returns Winnie house. So it works like this. Of course, I'm to locate where my houses are located in the tables. Houses are located in the table register. Yeah. So I want to use register to create a query. So double tap at register, double tap at each. Keep on double tapping so that you can have them in the design view. And under house, I'm under house because the question is rotating around house. Create a parameter query based on house that will display student information when the user types in a house. Name it parameter query. The parameter query is simply created by using angle brackets. Angle brackets. You know there's an angle bracket that I've just typed. There is a curly bracket that should not confuse you. And there's a normal bracket. We all know that one. So I want an angle bracket. That key on the right of letter P, you just hit that key. Don't hold shift to that key, just hit that key without shift. So angle bracket, and then you type. I can type something like enter a house. Enter any house. Let me type enter any house of your choice to see individuals there. Enter any house of your choice to see individuals there. Yeah. So someone will enter a house of their choice to see individuals there. Let me first run it. I've, of course, enclosed that text with another angle bracket. So I can save this query as parameter query because it's what is required. Parameter query. Then I click at OK. Then I can close it here. Now if I try to open a parameter query, this is what it's going to do. A parameter query is going to ask you to enter something so that it returns people from what you've entered. In this case, I'm going to enter a house according to the table I'm having. Now let me first close this. The register table has different houses. So I can enter any house so that I can see people there. Now let me first close this and I double tap at parameter query. You see, I can decide to enter any house like I have a lot of houses in the table, but I can type something like Bikunya. There was that house called Bikunya. You just mind the spelling. The spelling should match that on a new table. So I'm going to click OK, and you see the query is returning people from Bikunya house. Now, even other houses, I can type yellow. Because yellow was a house there, then I click OK, it returns people from yellow. This I can even type black. Because black was a house there, returns people from black. Now you're supposed to type the house you have in your table, not anything in the query. And you should mind the spelling. Now see what happened when I type a wrong spelling yellow. You see, nothing's returned. See what happens when I type something that is not even in the houses in my database. Maybe I type antelope. I don't have any house like antelope, but I'm trying to type antelope. Nothing happens because your table has nothing like antelope. But if you type what is in your table, like I have Winnie, I can say type Winnie, click OK, returns people from Winnie. So that is how a parameter query is going to work. And it is number 7 in the question. 8. Use the query above to create a form and save it as form 2. Use your query above to create a form and name it as form 2. So if I'm creating a form from a query, I'm going to use a form wizard. Maybe if I'm creating a form from a table, I can use a form design. But if I'm creating a form from a query, I can use a form wizard. Here it is. And then I choose a query I want to use. So I want to use parameter query because it's what is tasked in the question. Click at all, then next. There is columnar, tabular, datasheet, justified. I can go with columnar, and I can click at finish. So the form is displaying a parameter kind of value because I'm creating a form from a parameter query. So I can type any house I want that I can see a result. I can type Bikunya and then I type OK so that my form displaying Bikunya individuals should be running. So I've created the form. I've created the form from the parameter query and that is how it's looking like. Number 9. Now before I go to number 9, this form of mine, of course you can decide to edit it. I can right click at it and I go to design view. I try to change the appearance of the form. I can reduce the size, even this, and then this. Yeah, then I can move this slightly here. Yeah, then form header, I can type like something like a parameter. It can't be a parameter query. It could be form 2 from a parameter house query from form 2 from a parameter house query. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, form 2 from a parameter house query. That is it. That is it. So if I double tap and then I type Bikunya, yeah, my form is here, and it is playing people from Bikunya if I navigate by use of the small buttons here. Next is number 9. Provide a formatted header registration form. I was trying to format the heading, but I'm now being guided on what I should do. Provide a formatted header registration form. Color blue, size 24, font sans MS, and bold it. Registration form. Now I should change the heading to registration form. Right click, then design view. I change this heading to registration form. Registration form. Registration form, color blue, size 24. Under home, I highlight, of course, then size 24. Yeah, color blue, color blue, color blue. Yeah. Size 24. Comics and bold. I think I finished 24, then comics. Comic sans and bold. Yeah. Then 10, add the 2 command buttons of your choice. Let me first save this. Ctrl S, double tap. I need to see the output. Bikunya. Yeah. So the next question is add the 2 command buttons of your choice. Of course, if I want to add command buttons of my choice, I'm going to right click at the form and then I go to design view, and at the bottom I can increase the size of the form footer so that I can get where I can put my buttons. Yeah. So at form design, of course, I'm going to look for buttons. They are right here. I can draw the 2 buttons of my choice. Then I get a command button wizard. Now, in case you're not getting a command button wizard at your computer, in case you're drawing the button and you're not seeing a wizard, in case you're drawing a button like this and you don't see this dialog box popping up, you're supposed to just click at this drop down and then you click at use control wizards in case you don't have the dialog box that pops up. So the first button is going to be here. It is having go to next, then next, finish. Then another one, I want 2 of my choice. This one is the opposite, previous. Next, text, next, finish. Yeah, they should just be in line. Those are the 2 buttons I have come up with. Of course, that is it's the form. If I double tap and then I type a house like Bikunya again, okay, my form is parameter because remember it was generated from a parameter query. It first tempts you to enter a house, then you see people from the house. Click next, then previous, those are the people from Bikunya house, and that is the form. I can close it and then I can click at yes. I want to save. Next is number 11. Interrogate your table and get out those members born between February 1996 and September 1996. Save it as young. So I'm going to use my table to see people who were born in February 1996 and November 1996. I save it as young. Now, which table is that that is having the date of birth? I think it's details. Yeah. So I'm going to use the details table to run that query. So details, double tap, and then double tap at each, double tap, double tap, double tap. Yeah, then add a date of birth. I want people born between February 1996 and September 1996. I type between space hash 01 stroke 02. That means 1st February stroke 1996 hash space. A date is always enclosed in hashes, and space hash. I'm running between February and September has 30 days. 30 stroke September, I think it's the 9th month, is it? December 12, November 11, October 10, and September 9. Okay, 09 stroke 1996, and then hash. A date is enclosed in hashes. So that is my criteria that's going to help me run people who were born between February and September 1996. Click run so that you can see people who were born between February 1996 and September 1996. Save it as young, Ctrl S, young. Okay, close. Next question, number 12. Create a report using table 1 registered table. Save it as my report. Create a report using the registered table. So if I'm creating a report from a table, I simply use a design, report design, create. Then report design is right here. And then add existing fields, double tap at show all tables, double tap at register table, because it's the table I want to use according to the question. I'm going to double tap at each field so that they fall into the design view of the report. I'm just highlighting all of them from the top, then I move them to an appropriate location. Yeah, that is better. And according to the report I'm doing, I'm using table 1, but I could just spice up things so that the report is really appealing visually. So I'm going to just click at label. Label is around here, and then I draw a label on the top of the report somewhere here, and then I type a report from the register table. Yeah, a report from the register table. I can highlight under home. If this is dormant, click anywhere, highlight again, bigger size, like 14 is better. Bold, I can give it font style, I can give it Algerian. Yeah, then I can increase the size of this. Now even the text box, I can decide to just fill it with a color that's not really so dark. A report from the register table, then I can give this a color, iris like red. Yeah, a report from the register table. Of course, a report, I can right click at the interface of a report, then I go to fill color. I choose a color that's not so dark. That is my report. Even in the header here, I can go to report design and put the date. Okay. Yeah, and yeah, that is a date. A report can have a date. That's why I'm putting a date in the header section of a report. So let me first go with this. Save the report as my report. Ctrl S. I type my report. Click OK and the report is going to be created here. If I double tap, the report is here with the right date. Today is Monday, May 26th, 2025. Yeah, at 12:23 a.m. in the morning. That's the date, and that is the report about all the people from the house, from the table details. So this is the report. Okay, insert a specimen to a JPEG from the ICT files on your report, actually in your report header. So in my report header, I'm going to put an image specimen 2. In my report header, I'm going to right click at the report again, then I go back to design view, and in the report header, I put my image specimen 2. According to the support files I'm having, the image specimen 2 is here. I can decide to open it, and then I can copy, right click, copy image. Yeah, then I go to the report. I right click at the report header, then I go to paste. Paste is here. The image is pasted in the header section of the report. Seems the header section is now so big. I can reduce it while shifting the image slightly upwards. Yeah, best company. So that is the image. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the image and the other files I'm using are going to be available in the description of the video. If you need to also use them, yeah, make use of them. They are available. So the image specimen 2 JPEG is already in the report. And lastly, insert a footer of your name and personal number in your report. In the footer section of the report, the footer is here. Report footer, I'm going to just increase so that I type something there. Sorry, I'm looking for a label. Label is here. We've not specified on where to put the footer, and I'm just drawing it on the left. Label, is it? No, this is a text box. I need a label. The label should have my name, Mark Marvin Kasozi01. Yeah, so that is the footer in my report. If I control S save, double tap the report. The report is right here, and at the footer there's my name, and then best company as a logo, though it is cut. Let me deal with that. Right click on the report, then design view. Click on the image and I can slightly increase on the size of the logo image. I'm looking for a symbol that can help me deal with this. Yeah, that is it. And then that means I'll be able to view the entire image, the entire caption. Control S, then I open the report. That is how my report will look like. So having done your access, you can print. The trick with printing in Access is open each and every object you've done, like a table, like a report, like a form. Just open, Control P, and then look for the printer you're using and the name of the printer, and then under properties, you always print on under layout here. You can print on landscape. You always print on landscape so that your table is not cut or your query is not cut during the printing process. Even other objects like reports, you could just Control P, use Control P, select the printer under properties. My computer is now displaying landscape or portrait under layout, but depends on the version you're running. I'm running a version of Windows 11 and Office 2024, so it depends on your version. You're also supposed to open a query. For example, my query is liners, Control P, look for the printer name, and then go to properties, select an orientation that is better, that is landscape. You should have all your query displayed on one page, not being cut on 2 pages. Yeah, that is it with the trial question of access I wanted to share with you. The trial question is also available in my description. If you want to practice this question here, it's available at my description. Thank you for the view. Thank you for your time spent on this video tutorial. Thanks for the like, for the share, for the comments, for the feedback you provide. More to come. A nice week ahead. Bye bye. A good morning.